Jennifer had been a pediatrician for just 3 years that night when she walked through her front door. Her family wasn't wealthy. They'd struggled for everything they'd had, and when she decided that she wanted to become a doctor, her father had worked 2 jobs, and Jennifer started waiting tables to help pay for her books and living expenses. Medical school was a blur to her now. Long days, longer nights, and very little sleep. During her residency is when she'd met Graham. He worked as an RN in the mother and baby unit of the hospital. He was kind and handsome, and he made her laugh. He had brown hair, green eyes, perfect teeth, and the brightest smile she'd ever seen. They'd eloped just after she'd gotten her license. She didn't want to put all that work into a wedding just as she was starting a career. And Graham had said that he wanted whatever she wanted, so that settled it. They went to the Justice of the Peace and invited their families out to dinner to surprise them afterwards. Jennifer's father beamed with pride. Graham had always wanted to be a nurse. His grandmother had been a nurse, and to Graham she was everything. She had raised him after his father was killed in a car accident, and the nights when she couldn't get a sitter for Graham, she would take him with her to work, and he would watch her bring smiles to tired eyes and laughs to people in terrible pain. She was an angel to those she cared for, and that made Graham want to be the same. Now his grandmother was in a nursing home, but Graham visited often, and with her he shared the stories of patients he'd grown to care about, and those who were so grouchy they were funny, and together they'd laugh and laugh. Nothing mattered quite as much as the pride she felt for him. Graham and Jennifer had adopted a newborn baby 2 years ago. She had been born to a drug-addicted mother, and there'd been no father in the picture. They named her Pearl, as she was an unexpected, precious gift. They loved her more than words could express. As Jennifer walked in the front door a little late, having missed dinner with Graham and Pearl, she knew she'd make it just in time for bath time. "Hello," she called out, and then she heard him, Graham. She couldn't understand what he was saying, but she knew that he didn't sound like himself. He wasn't calm. He wasn't his normal voice. He wasn't singing to Pearl, but he was loudly wailing. No, no, no. She could finally make out as she headed up the stairs. Her gut felt as though it were twisting into knots. She began to run. Graham, holding Pearl in his arms, nearly ran into her. Jen, oh my God, Jen. Help me. Help her." Pearl's body was limp, her lips turning blue. She was wrapped in a bath towel. "Is she choking?" Jen yelled as she took her from his arms. "No, she must have... I was just... It was like 3... Jen's voice became firm as she looked at her panicked husband. She'd seen this before in the ER. The parent who can't put a sentence together, whose brain is off the track. "Graham!" She grabbed him by his face with one hand. She'd laid Pearl on the floor and had tilted her head back. "Damn it, Graham! What is happening?" I found her in the bath, under the water. I'd just answered the phone. It was a few, and... Jennifer blocked his voice out. "Come on, baby girl." She began CPR, knowing she needed to get the water off her lungs. "Come on, Pearl. You've got Mama here. Come on." Time stood still, yet the minutes on the clock ticked by. Her fingers turned blue. Her cheeks. Jennifer screamed into the air, to God, to no God, to the sky, to the ends of the earth. She yelled at Graham, who was sitting like a human puddle. His body looked almost as if he had no bones. He was folded over into himself, and she wanted to punch him. She wanted to beat him. But his eyes were so full of grief and despair. The phone rang. He whispered. My work phone. I ran to answer it. They'd called me by mistake. And I went back to the bathroom. It was that fast, Jen, I swear. That fast. The two of them sat in the hallway holding their precious gift for hours. Then Jennifer said, "We will report her as missing." Her voice was almost robotic. "What?" asked Graham as he snapped out of his own head. "Who?" "Pearl, Graham. We will report her as abducted. In the morning from her bed. You break the window with gloves on, unlock the lock, and open the window. Wipe dirt on the sill. Do not go in. Put your feet into my runners as best as you can. Your weight in my shoes. They'll think heavy-set woman. Some desperate woman. I'll take her somewhere." "What? Where?" "Don't ask. The less you know, the better. They can easily read your face. This way, they'll just see grief. We can't afford what this will do to our careers, our reputations. Can you imagine? Who will hire you? Who wants their child to see the doctor who couldn't save her own child? She's gone. There's nothing we can do. Should we be ostracized? Should we lose our livelihood? Get my coat and some spare sheets and hurry up." Graham did as she said. And the morning came, and Graham made the call to the police. He was hysterical, as was Jennifer. This moment, this is when they were allowed to show the emotion of losing a child. It was honest. It was raw. And it was real. They went on television and pleaded for her return. The community lavished love and sympathy on them. Their family and friends manned the telephone lines. They cooked them meals. And the years went by. They went on to adopt 2 more children, a boy, Brandon, and a girl, Jade. 13 years later, as the family sat down to dinner, the phone rang. "Mommy," said Jade, 8 years old. "It's someone for you." "Jade, sweetie, tell them we're eating dinner." "But it's the police, Mommy." Jennifer stood up to get the phone. She wasn't worried or scared. In fact, she was used to getting phone calls every now and again. They would update her about Pearl's case, how it was progressing, or about new drawings depicting her as older, etc. She'd just about forgotten that Pearl actually hadn't been kidnapped. "Hello?" she answered. "Jen, it's Bob." The voice was the officer in charge of their case. "Hey, Bob. Anything new?" she asked as usual. "Yes, Jen. Yes." He was excited. Jen couldn't understand what this could be. "Jen, get Graham on the line." She motioned for Graham to pick up the phone in the bedroom. "Okay, Bob, we're here," she said. "Jen, Graham, listen to this." The phone shuffled on the other end, and they could hear Bob say, "It's okay, sweetheart." And then a voice, the voice of a girl. "Mom? Dad? It's me, Pearl." Jen and Graham were silent. "Did you hear that, guys? We found her. Someone recognized her from a drawing, and sure enough, her mother, the woman she was with, could not produce a birth certificate. She admitted to kidnapping her. The details are all mixed up. She's pretty mentally ill, but sure as heck, she's a spitting image of Pearl. She says she recognizes pictures of you two. She'll have to be in the hospital for a couple days. And then you can come get her. She's yours again. It's a freaking miracle. Yes. Yes, Bob. I can't believe this, stuttered Graham. I know. It's a shock to you two. I'll call you in a couple days. You guys better get shopping. And he hung up. Graham walked into the dining room, where Jen was still holding the phone. And both he and Jen had looks of horror on their faces. Thank you for coming to my channel. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to be subscribed and you're not, go ahead and click that subscribe button. If you'd like to be notified when my content goes live, go ahead and click that bell. Good night.